All right, Taurus, welcome to your weekly horoscope for January 19th through the 25th. My name is Athen. If you're new to Sidereal Astrology, please check the description down below. All right, so we've got some emphasis this month for you Tauruses in your ninth house. And this has to do, of course, with long distance matters, travel, anything that expands the mind or the physical body, such as philosophy and spiritual studies. These things, of course, open us up. And on a more fundamental level, essentially, is the connection that we have to the higher realm. It's the top of the charts where we can see the overall big picture. And it's also the house of our life path as well. So a lot of emphasis here, but it all starts on Monday when we have this continuing sort of Uranus-Pluto nodal T-square energy that's been going on that you've been hearing me talk about. Now this week, in regards to that whole energy, it's mostly emphasized in terms of that south node with Uranus. Uranus is going to go over that south node, and that's happening in your 11th house. So there's something from past life, you might think of it, because the south node does rule kind of past life or past and letting go of something in our past, which does have to do for you with your 11th house, which is groups, perhaps friends, anything community related, globally related, anything that helps you give back to the community or society in some way, or the world. So there's some releasing taking place here, some old notions about it and some things being reworked. So the key here is to just let those ideas go and to surrender any old notions about those types of things. It's also the house of what you gain from your work as well. And so this can have to do with money that might be coming in through your work also, not paying too much attention to that aspect of it. There's some releasing work that needs to take place, and it's going to be spanning all the way from Monday through Wednesday in particular, but overall just for this whole week. So yeah, let go. And it's also old ideas of freedom as well with this whole aspect with Uranus. Some old ideas about what you require for your freedom. And the key here is to remember that you already are free and you already have everything you need to enjoy your life 100%. And that's the lesson of this type of aspect. But it is involved especially with those 11th house groups or perhaps the benefits you get from your work in some way. Now, we also have on Monday Mars conjunct up to Neptune in that 10th house. So there's definitely some letting go and some releasing work that needs to take place in regards to career or something on that sort of public level. You guys have been very motivated here, and this is good. You can continue to put energy into this part of your chart with Mars transiting. However, since Mars is going over Neptune, this is the time to make sure you have that presence. And when you are putting in energy into your work, excuse me, make sure that it's selfless. Make sure it's coming from compassion, coming from that Neptunian sort of energy of wanting to give and wanting to contribute. If you're coming from that direction, then it can be a tremendous amount of flow energy for you. And that's going to be Monday, Tuesday time period. Now, also on Monday, we've got Venus opposite Jupiter. So there's some indulgence that could be taking place this week, and we want it to be a healthy indulgence. With Venus opposite Jupiter, sometimes we can get a little bit unbalanced in terms of what we're enjoying. And it has to do here with your 9th house and your 3rd house. So finding that balance between perhaps the philosophical, larger picture of life, the expansive side of life, also the traveling, with the more mundane aspects of life. You want to make sure you have a nice, good balance here between these two things. And also the rational side of life too. The 3rd house is everything in our immediate environment, and the 9th house is everything in our broader environment. So whatever that is for you in particular, you can enjoy those two aspects, perhaps doing a little bit of light traveling that's close by, you see, because then you're implementing the 9th house and the 3rd house. You can definitely do some studying and some learning when it's a little bit practical but a little bit philosophical at the same time. Really enjoying that sort of nodal access in your chart, which has to do with wisdom and learning when it's nice and grounded and balanced. Now on Tuesday, we do have that new moon in that 9th house. So this is where there's a lot of new beginnings for you in terms of your 9th house. And this is about life path and overall that overarching perspective. So the key here around the new moon is to really reflect on the energies and see what kind of insights come to you. This is the time to reflect, and then so once the full moon, or once the moon starts to raise up and go towards the full moon, that's when the energies are higher. So towards the end of this week, around Thursday and Friday, that's the time to really start implementing perhaps some of these ideas that come to you in regards to those 9th house matters around Tuesday. But you definitely want to use the first few days of the week to reflect on that 9th house. So think about things in terms of, How can you expand more? Is there enough adventure in your life? You know, that's what the ninth house symbolizes, is that feeling, that passion of adventure and excitement. And that's why things like travel and philosophy and spiritual studies are associated with it, because that's what it is. Whether it's a spiritual adventure or physical adventure, that's what we crave, that's what we want. So it's very important we have this element of our life. So reflect on how that area can be embellished in the long term, because we are talking about this new moon in Capricorn, which is about making sure that it is nice and long term and disciplined. So having that approach to it is very important as well. Now on Wednesday we have Mercury going retrograde, so continuing to reflect on the ninth house. All of these matters all the way through February. Now Mercury isn't a time of not doing things. It's a time of just treating it as a learning experience. So if you do some traveling, if you are learning some philosophy or getting involved in the university or anything else that's ninth house, you want to make sure that you're treating it as a learning experience. Of course, when we're learning something, we don't just dig ourselves a hole and get really deep into it. We treat it as step by step, and we take it nice and slow. So do that all the way through February. Treat that ninth house as a learning experience, because there's definitely something being learned here in regards to it. Now on Thursday we've got Venus going into that 10th house. So this is where things start to shift and go into more of your career sort of level in terms of your enjoyment, and perhaps also in the income and financial level as well, and with relationships also. So it's definitely a shift here, and while Venus is going to be there all the way into February as well, this is the time to enjoy the relationships, enjoy what you really are connected to in your work, and then naturally those areas of your life will flow, along with the finances also. Perhaps think of the financial element in that as well, but not thinking as much as it's about just enjoying it and going with the process. Now on Thursday we've got Saturn sextiling up to the Sun, which is when things start to become, I think, easier. Thursday, Friday, this is when we start to see the flowing energy, especially regarding to those ninth house matters. This whole discipline approach to something ninth house related that's involved for you guys. Now's the time to, from Thursday, Friday, you'll notice a nice flow, and it'll feel like you're starting to get a handle on it, starting to understand it, and you can definitely start to even implement a lot of these ideas, especially those ideas around the new moon that came to you. All right, Taurus, well, I hope you have a fantastic week. I want to thank you all for your support. If you'd like a personal reading, please get in touch, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care.